guess it won't be long before these sneakers are squeaking again on the hardwood and Stacey goes back to work for those preseason games. We're only a week and a half until training camp, Stace. You're enjoying your summer too much, right?
I'm excited about the season starting.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm excited about looking at the Bulls' new roster.
Exactly.
But I just think that we're starting too early.
Yeah.
I'd rather for the start in December. You know, I just...
You know what I think they found with the bubble is that fans were not watching those games because they were all focused on football, you know, in those early months. They don't want to go head to head with football for their most important games.
Well, you know, I mean, Christmas, the season officially starts Christmas anyway. Mm-hmm. Those are big TV games.
Yeah.
So you could have started, Mark, Christmas time and then carried over because we're still going to be competing against the college football. We're going to be competing against NFL during the months of October.
Well, they didn't want to go all the way until late August when, you know,
just keep it the same way it's been, man. Just, you know, just play 72 games, throw the little playing games in, and then start the season in December. Just start in December.
Well, we're going to talk a lot of basketball coming up. We got a special guest who's going to join us, the former Loyola basketball coach, now the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. Porter Moser is going to join us in a little bit, so we'll look forward to that conversation. And John, this is episode 46. I know that you got a chance to know Doug Plank, who was the motivating force behind the famous 46 defense. Got any Doug Plank stories for us?
Oh, I got a lot of Doug Plank stories. You know, he owned a bunch of Burger Kings. I worked with him ASU football. He was my analyst. My wife, Susan, we met him number of times.
We know Susan. She's on the screen for all you watching on YouTube.
Outside. We, he was a joy. He had
you worked at one of his Burger Kings?
I know. I didn't.
He cleaned the grease pit.
Yeah, that's why his tub is so greasy. We finally found out why the tub is greasy. That's where it started. Oh, wow.
Just have some fun and go look up, watch some video of Doug Plank when he played in the 46 defense. Buddy Ryan, Timmy Whispers, and you know, Mark, you guys know, and Stacey, you followed football. That was just unbelievable, and that's the name 46 came after. Originally came from his Doug Plank, who was a strong safety.
He had a great story. He wasn't recruited. Was he any OSU?
Oh yes, let's tell that story real quick.
Yeah,
yes.
He wasn't recruited, and a NFL recruiter came to OSU to watch another player, and did he get injured? And then Doug played
at Northwestern. Yeah,
right.
He played. Legendary OSU coach. What's the legendary? Woody Hayes. Wouldn't start him. And he finally started in his senior year, and he had this unbelievable game.
Yeah.
At Northwestern.
So Woody was keeping him down.
Woody said he used to have to wash Woody's back in the shower, but that's from
no, he didn't.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. You're lying.
That would be a man code violation.
Major. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Major man code violation. Oh my goodness.
We're gonna skip that.
Man, did he say that for real?
Yes,
Not
he did.
our story to tell.
Yes, he did. But he talked about.
We need to have Doug. I need to have him about that one. I need to talk about that one.
It's funny what Stacey mentions about OU football, and I've been on their campus. It is ridiculous. I mean, there's only a few places in the country that are in awe, the buildings and everything. But Doug said that back in the day, OSU's facility was better than the Bears. He said it was much like that. The NFL facilities weren't anything. They had like one hot tub, broken down set of gym equipment.
But if he's washing Woody Hayes' back in the shower,
Stacey can't get off that.
No, who cares if they have one hot tub? But it's like you're washing Woody Hayes' back. Oh, the vision of that right now, like
I don't know.
It's like a little marshmallow, just like a little
potato. Come in the shower apparently and want his back washed.
No, that's a frightening thought.
That's a frightening thought. We got to get Doug Plank on. Doug, if you listen to the show, John just put you out there and said you watched Woody Hayes' back.
Let's not take away from
which means that Woody Hayes was naked.
I tried to derail.
He's not washing his back with a pair of jeans on. Okay, so that means he was in the shower.
All right.
Hey, I didn't make this story up. It was brought to my attention, and I just ran with it.
But it's quite a testament to Doug Plank, though, that the whole defense was
soap on a rope,
built around his talent.
Soap on a rope.
But don't you find it interesting that the 46 in the triangle, with Chicago, no longer are you implemented in professional sports.
Smack it.
I think that teams use aspects of it, but they don't just call it that anymore.
Yeah.
And the triangle, Stacey, when you were coaching in the CBA, you try to put the triangle in, guys don't even know which way to go.
Let me tell you about the triangle offense.
Oh,
okay. I didn't get in the shower with Woody Hayes, but the triangle offense, first of all, you got to have a high basketball IQ.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you don't have a high basketball IQ, you're going to struggle because it's an offense based off of movement and passing. There is no plays called. There are some plays called within specialty parts of it, but a lot of it is just ball movement, reading defenses like quarterbacks. Everyone's a quarterback. Anyone who has the ball in their hand has to read the defense to know where the ball goes next. So it's very intricate. And so, I can imagine the defense was like that too.
Let's talk about one of the things we saw this week in the news that the NBA has talked about this a lot, the possibility of an in-season tournament trying to go after the soccer model where they have several important cups that they play for during the season. I don't know if it's going to be something they can sell to NBA players, especially the superstars who are making $40, $50 million. They're offering $1 million per player for the winning team, which sounds great. But when you consider that's such a small portion of what those guys earn annually.
Well, NBA, call me. Let me sit in on some of these meetings. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Let me be a consultant when they're coming up with these ideas. Okay. Yeah. In-season tournament is horrible because the fact that this year you're going to be battling COVID still, you're going to be battling injuries. You can't afford to have players miss games. That's the whole thing. You can't afford. Then you got the play-in tournament at the end of the year. If you want that tournament format, if you want to do it that way, how about put the teams who don't make the playoffs in that situation at the end of the season? Take the teams who don't make the playoffs and say, we're going to have a tournament. It would kind of be like a toilet bowl game,
who wants to watch?
But it doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter because those guys you got to sweeten the pot. Not only are you winning the money, but this is going to determine where you draft. So now,
but Adam Silver wants to get people watching in November, December. He doesn't want to wait till the end of the year when he's got real playoffs going on.
Okay, so if you want to watch it in November to December, why don't you just start it in December? Start in December. So your first game, you start the week before Christmas. Start the week before Christmas. You have all your marquee games on Christmas, whoever you want to play on Christmas, from starting at 12 o'clock in the afternoon all the way down. You play 5 teams, and then everybody can play on Christmas. They just don't. Everybody's not going to be on TV. There's a difference. Everybody's not going to play on the big. No one's going to be on ABC. Okay. So, but everybody can play on Christmas if you want. So if you're so worried and concerned about as NBA, listen, just call me and let me sit in these meetings, please. I have some very interesting ideas that I think you might want to use.
How about that one, like the 4-ounce glove tournaments?
The what?
Where they get to fight each other. Those guys can settle their egos right out there.
Hey, you know what, Tim?
That'd be great.
That's unrealistic. And if you interrupt me one more time, there may be a throat punch coming your way. Okay, so
no, the 1-inch punch.
No, it's a throat punch because I want him to be quiet. I don't want him to talk the rest of the day.
I got him,
so,
Stacey.
Thank you, Susan. No, but seriously though,
boards don't head back.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep.
The in-season tournament, I'm not a big fan of that.
What if they play slam ball? Where they
well, you might. If you're going to do that kind of stuff,
How about 3-on-3?
Listen, if they didn't learn anything from last year, look at how the format ended. The playoffs were exciting. No, let's not get it wrong.
Yeah,
the play-in was awesome, and it was the people were watching those things.
That was
but even though it was exciting, the star players were not on the court in critical games due to injury or COVID or whatever. You want your star players, they're the driving force of this league. Yeah. You want your players on the court. You want them to be in the playoffs in 7-game series. You want that to be intriguing for people to watch. You don't want LeBron James and Anthony Davis sitting out of games and not playing in the playoffs games. You know what I'm saying? So you want these guys to be healthy. Are they going to go back now? Players are going to start self-resting themselves now after, going a whole year. Think about it. They started in December, went all the way through to almost August, September with the Olympics and everything. And now you're starting up again here in October.
Yeah. Well, they're going to tweak a lot of different things, trying to come up with a format that the players will like and that they think can appeal to the television audience. But it's going to be a tough sell, especially early in the year. As you said, guys are just kind of want to eat, especially star players kind of want to ease into it. They don't want to be playing important games early in the season or extra games.
I'm me. I'm just a man sitting next to the man. I have no dog in the fight. I'm just saying, to me, I just think the health of the players is the most important thing for organizations. Think about this. If you are a team and one of your superstars blows out his knee playing in that tournament, you have no compensation whatsoever. If LeBron James gets hurt for the Lakers and is out for the season and then the following season next year, that's a huge hit on the Los Angeles Lakers. So any extra games that's going to put stress on my players, I'm worried about that.
What they're doing in the G League this year, they're playing the first 12 games are to qualify for the showcase event, and they're going to play for a championship trophy when they go to Vegas, I believe, to play this. So what we've seen in the NBA in the past is when they start off something in the G League, it means they're thinking pretty seriously about bringing it to the main league.
I'm a traditionalist. Just keep the game the way it is. Seriously, just keep the game the way it is. If you want to put 82 games in and play more games, then do that. We went to 72 games last year. If you want to go 82 games, go 82 games. But let's. I know they're trying to tweak the interest of people. Let's just keep it traditional. Keep the games. Have our rivalries, our conference rivalries. Bring that back. If you really want to spruce the game up, let the game be a little bit more physical. Let teams get after you a little bit, knocking guys in the dirt. All these, these 33s and teams shooting 15%.
I thought you were worried about injuries.
I don't care about that. Listen, I want to see competitive basketball. I want to see guys.
I'm with the king.
I want to see competitive games. I want to see teams being allowed to defend instead of just having these guys just go out here and jack up, 43s in a game and they only knock down 20% of them. I want to see more competition. I want to see more rivalries. I want to see those things brought back.
Hey, we want to send out a Give Me the Hot Sauce shout out to Lisa Byington, who made history this week. The first full-time female play-by-play television voice in the NBA. So congratulations to Lisa Byington. I heard that she was this close to not signing the contract when she found out that John Walsh is going to be her director.
Oh, wow, that hurt. Let me just say this. She's lucky to have John Walsh there. Yeah, she's lucky to have John Walsh there. And, listen, America, I just want to say Lisa's a great friend of mine. And, me and John, we work very closely. Lisa was one of the finalists at the end,
right?
Because I really wanted to work with her. I watched her work when she was doing, women's sports, college basketball, softball. I've always been a big fan of her since I specifically, requested her. And I tell you what, man, she's a hard worker. She's very thorough. She's funny. She's one of the best in the business. She did try to jump in and steal my nationwide jingle. I told her, hey, Janet Jackson, sit down. No, Janet.
We did the game in Memphis and everything was going really smooth. And Stacey was hitting me and talk back. Wow, this is great. And then she made the fatal flaw to think that Gus's in Memphis was fried chicken, and that was we almost had to pull a plug.
It was almost ended the relationship. That almost ended our relationship right there. She made a mistake, but she's very talented. And when I found out that she got the job for the Bucks, I was so happy for her because like I said, Milwaukee has always been kind of a trend-setting team as far as going against the grain. That's a huge hire for them. They had a female working last year. It was Patsy was retiring, and so they brought someone in last
Zora
year.
Stevenson.
Zora Stevenson. Yeah. And I didn't really. I saw a couple of games. I don't. It was hard to judge how good she is. But think about Lisa. You're going to the world champions. You're not going to you're not going to a team that's not a playoff caliber team. Right, you're going right there. So I like to say, Lisa, shout out to you. And it's really hard for myself, training you. I feel like Mr. Miyagi. I train Lisa, wax on, wax off. She didn't understand what I was doing when we were working together.
Right. Now she knows.
But now she knows. And so she's going to go to Milwaukee and do a great job. I hope she's there for 20 years.
Well deserved. You look at her resume, all the work she's put in.
Well, she came up through the ranks doing a lot of the not as important sports going on, and then
got all the experience.
And she did Olympics this past year.
Olympics,
NCAA,
right?
She is constantly. She constantly works.
Yeah,
I know. I was asking John last night, is she going to move to Milwaukee? Because I know she just purchased a condo in the city this summer. She was really excited about that.
You got your real estate license? You can help her sell.
I don't know anything about Milwaukee. I don't go up there very often.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, you guys don't invite me. You don't invite me.
Oh.
So, you know, so, but I'm so happy for her because she is one of the good people out there. She works extremely hard, very talented, and Milwaukee Bucks really got a good one. They made a really good call with her.
Well, congratulations to Lisa. And the other thing that we saw happen in the news yesterday was 4 of the new members of the Chicago Bulls were brought out to Guaranteed Rate Field to try to show off their pitching arms.
Yikes.
And poor Southpaw almost got his head taken off by Alonzo throwing some serious heat.
And listen, I will say Alonzo tried to bring it though.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, he did. He did too hard. Okay, it was
Southpaw's looking like, hey, wait a minute, I'm just a mascot.
It was America. It was like the grassy knoll, the magic bullet. It hit Southpaw, bounced off, hit a cameraman, then it bounced up and hit a little kid who was eating ice cream. Then
Back
it came
into
back
the left.
Yeah, so it hit like 8 people. But I will give him credit. He tried to bring gas.
You did.
Now the rest of those guys, oh man, that was a little suspect.
Yeah,
seriously.
It was,
I thought P-Dub was terrible. Okay, P-Dub looked like Ron Guidry compared to these guys. Derek Jones, whoever else over there.
Alex Caruso was out there, Tony Bradley.
Oh man, I was like, boy, where did these boys ever play baseball?
Were they at the top of the rubber or were they?
No,
they were flat on the. They were in front of the rubber.
Well,
Yeah, they were the handicap.
Lonzo
part.
kind of scooted up, not all the way to the rubber, but he was on the front of the mound.
Yeah, he was on front of the mound. The rest of the guys came down, almost touching the grass. I'm like, hey, come on, man, back up. Back up. What are y'all doing? Y'all are
and then people are making excuses like, well, it's not easy to throw a baseball. I'm like, what?
Man.
This is America. Everybody grew up
I
throwing a
would say
baseball.
our next guest, after the Big 8 run, he came to Wrigley. I was producing the game, and he was at top of the rubber, just like George Bush. Remember George Bush, top of the rubber?
Yeah.
Boom.
That was
nice.
Well, you know what? America. He was 60 years old. You know, America, let me just say this, America. I was at the Cubs game, and I threw out first pitch
Top
twice.
of the
Listen, I told you this story about there was an 80-year-old man on a little walker. And then, because the Cubs bring out like a lot of people before the celebrity comes out. And so most of the people were in front of the rubber on the grass throwing it, and then there was this 80-year-old man, he was on a walker. I think he had just had hip replacement surgery, so he was on a walker. And I was kind of nervous to ask him, like, where is he going to throw it from? But you're in a walker, so how you're not going to get up on the mound. And so I asked him, I said, sir, excuse me. I said, you're gonna throw the pitch out? He goes, oh yes, I'm so excited. And I'm like, he was hyped. And I was like, so I said, so where are you gonna throw from? Like, you're in a walker, where are you gonna throw from? Oh, I'm going from the mound. And then he's like, what do you think I am? I was like, hey, calm down here, Spike. So he hops up there, and I don't remember who the catcher was. And so they were like, hey, come up forward. And he just shook him off like he was a pitcher. He shook him off, and he hopped up on the mound and he threw it. And he didn't bounce in. There you go. He threw it in. The catcher didn't even have to move. It was like right there. And the pressure's on now because here's this 80-year-old man in a walker who hopped up there on the mound. So I'm thinking to myself, now, and the Cubs don't give you a warm-up. No. They just have you sitting out there, and it was a cold day too. So I'm like, oh Lord have mercy. I'm like, can I throw a couple of warm-up in? Oh no, we got to get out there. So I'm like, oh, the pressure. But then I thought, I started thinking for a second. I said, I'm Stacey King.
I'm Stacey King.
You know what? This is easy. I throw batting practice to 14, 15-year-old kids. Just act like I'm doing batting practice. I got up there, baby. Oh, Lord, America. I look like Randy Johnson up there. I was 6'10". I brought some heat. Maybe I was a little bit outside. But it was heat, and it was in the strike zone. Somebody would have swung at it. Okay, they would have swung at it.
How fast do you think it was?
Oh, man, if I had my clock, I'd say about 90. But I didn't have my gun.
The Stacey King gun.
Yeah, the Stacey King gun. Listen,
if you were throwing 90, they would have signed you to a contract right there.
Have you ever been to those little carnivals where you can actually do?
Yeah.
I've thrown like 80 in those things. So I had to figure
80.
You know what, Susan? 90. You know what? You want to rain on somebody's parade? Rain on Sparky's parade over there, okay? But you don't rain on my parade. Okay. I threw 82 miles an hour on the little circus thing.
Yeah.
America. Listen, it might have been off maybe 5 degrees. Okay, I don't care, but it said 82. Okay. So I'm assuming when I got on the mound, I was close in the 80s. Wow. I'm not gonna let y'all just ruin my story. I'm sorry. Y'all a bunch of haters in there.
It's his story, and he's sticking to
it. Exactly.
Hey, let's bring in our next guest, our first guest coming up, Porter Moser, waiting in the Sriracha waiting room. We're going to keep him waiting it much longer. We'll get the fight song ready to go. Hear from Porter Moser on what's ahead for the University of Oklahoma, and we'll look back on his days as head coach at Loyola. That's next, episode 46 of Give Me the Hot Sauce. Yes, it's become a tradition here on Give Me the Hot Sauce. At least once a week, we're going to hear the Oklahoma fight song. Now it makes a lot of sense because we're bringing in the new head basketball coach of the Oklahoma Sooners, Porter Moser, joining us. He's a very familiar face to Chicago basketball fans, coaching the last 10 years at Loyola, taking the Ramblers to the Final Four in 2018. Coach, thanks for joining us. I know that Stacey's been so anxious to have you on. How's it been going down in Soonerland?
It's great, but I will have to say this opening, I don't have the bounce and the vibe that Stacey has. I look like that. You look way better than me.
Hey, anytime I hear that song, baby, I feel like I'm getting ready to drop 40 in my mind. I'm gonna drop 40 on somebody, Porter.
And I bet you can replay all 40 of those in your mind too.
Oh yes, I'm still an All-American in my mind, baby.
Coach, obviously it's been a big transition for you after being in Chicagoland for the last 10 years, being a Naperville native. What was it like for you to make the decision to take your family down to Norman and make this big jump with the Sooners?
Well, in 2018, we went to the Final Four. My life was kind of crazy right there, and I had some opportunities to move. And I just sat down with my family and my faith, everything. And I just such a diehard Chicago sports fan. I just wanted to have another run. I just didn't want it to leave right away. And I was happy. I was really happy. I loved my players. I loved the school. I loved the city. And so I stayed. And then we had another run this year, and my life got crazy again. And it was just something about, I sat down with the athletic director, Joe Castiglione, and it was something about the way OU, the people there, the vibe there, they covet values, they covet doing it the right way. There's just such a great vibe there. And I just felt there was a lot of things moving towards the Power Five conferences, or the Autonomy Five, as they correct me really fast. But I didn't know we were going to the SEC at the time, but it just made sense for me. It was really hard to leave Chicago, and because how much I love the city and I love Loyola, but it was time, and I couldn't find a better place for me that fits me personally than Oklahoma.
Take us back, because you're an Illinois native. Take us back to when you took the job at Loyola, which has been pretty much, a program that was like really downridden. They say that's where people go to die. I don't know. That's what they tell me. I don't know. I mean, we played Loyola when I was in Oklahoma, beat them by 50. I'm just saying. So you're taking that job. You're coming back. You got a head coaching job. What was your impression in coming in the program, and what was the idea that you were going in there? Because I know you have a lot of energy. You'll run through a wall. So what was your impersonation when you came here to take that job in the beginning?
Well, it was like you said, Stacey, it was rock bottom, and it was something that just tried to create a vision. I remember I was digging through the hallway, the closets, and I found this picture of the 1963 team sitting on a convertible, black and white photo, and it was on Sheridan Road. It was a parade after they won it, and the convertible was stuck. And the guys, Jerry Harkness and all of them, are on the convertible. I'm like, how cool is that? Look at the excitement around Loyola's program. Took the picture, put it on my wall. Fast forward to 2018, we beat Kansas State. The next day, they're sending the NCAA, we're on a plane, cheerleaders, dancers, everybody, families. We land in O'Hare. They take a police escort. They say there's a parade at the arena there on campus. We get a police escort. We go to Rogers Park. Now we got like 10 police cars escorting us. We're down by Bruno's on Sheridan, and all of a sudden people started coming out of the bars. They had their phones, traffic stopped, and our bus got stuck. And I hit my wife on the leg. How about that picture?
Wow. Wow.
And I just said, you just got to have a vision. I tell you what was crazy is they hadn't had a player. It was since David Bailey from, I think, Westinghouse. It was like 12 years they hadn't had a Chicago Public League player. So I I mean, I didn't even wear a polo. I was wearing a shirt that said Loyola as big as I can, just going in and out of the schools and just trying to make it cool because it wasn't cool to go to Loyola. They were trying to run from it. And we just wanted to make it to be a place where these kids from Chicago thought it was a great place. And Milton Doyle was our first one that we got. And he ended up being all league. He had up and down with the Bulls for a minute. And then we got Dante Ingram from Simeon, Lucas Williamson from Whitney Young. So what it was a total process of just being relentless about getting Loyola's name out there, recruiting the right guys, recruiting Dante Ingram, a state champion at Simeon, Lucas Williamson, state champion at Whitney Young, Cameron Crutwig, like all-time leading winner in his high school from Jacobs High School. And then now he's the all-time winner at Loyola. So it was about keeping some of these kids home and getting the right winning type of programs that we recruited from.
You mentioned you took a leap of faith going to Loyola. Before you went there, you were an assistant for Rick Majerus, the late, great Rick Majerus, and everyone knows about his larger-than-life personality. What kind of counsel did he give you about taking that leap of faith and coming back to Chicago to coach at Loyola?
He thought it was a great fit. I was born and raised Catholic. I went to Bennett Academy. I played at a Jesuit school, Creighton University. I was coaching with Rick at a Jesuit school at SLU, and he's like, Porter, Chicago, and he goes, you got to take this. And then he wrote me a long handwritten note. He goes, Porter, I know your energy and how much you want to win. He goes, do it the right way. He goes, don't try to do it overnight. And that was his big message. He goes, build a program, not a team. And he was just, with that. And then we went to dinner and dessert after he told us.
No shock there.
Yeah,
right?
Everybody warned me to go work for him. They're like, Porter, you're going to go work for Rick Majerus. He's going to work you to the bone. And I'm like, I'm not afraid of that. The hardest part was I had 4 kids from the ages like 1 through 6, like at 4 kids. The hardest part was, and I'd give my right arm to have one of those, but going to dinner. He lived in the hotel. He was single. We went to dinner every night. He wanted to go to dinner every night. And dinner just wasn't if we went out for dinner, it'd be like an hour and 15 minutes. Rick, it was an event. He wanted everybody around. Like we'd be X&O and the linens at Lorenzo's on the hill in St. Louis would all be X&O'd with markers. And it was fun, but that was so hard because we'd want to go till 10 o'clock every night.
What was his car like? I heard he had Post-it notes everywhere in his car. Is that true?
Yeah, his car was a disaster. There was stuff everywhere. And then the thing about Rick is, I needed 3 seatbelts. Yeah, I love him to death, but he would just floor it. He'd just be going. He would go so fast with no regard. I'm like, Coach, they're not going to get out of the way. That's
So building your program here and how hard it was to try to get the publicly kids to come here, because I know how difficult that was because Loyola wasn't the cool school at the time, and so Oklahoma is kind of in that same situation. We've talked a lot about that, is that the kids in Oklahoma tend to go to other schools, which really disappoints me because, being born and raised in Lawton, Oklahoma, we took pride about coming to the state school, because we only recognize one school in Oklahoma. We don't recognize Oklahoma State. So Oklahoma is the only university there. I'll give Tulsa a little shout out, but they don't really count either. But how important is it to do the same thing that you did here in Chicago with the kids here in Oklahoma?
It's huge. You want to set your borders around your own state because there's something inherently competitive about repping your own state as a player. And so the 22 class this year, I should say that I just came from a gym. I can't tell you which one, but I just came from a class of 23. I'm recruiting it really, really hard. And that this is talking about this is a state school. I love what you said about the tradition. Stacey, I remember my first week having a conversation with you, and you were so adamant about it, man. We got to keep the top kids at home. Got to keep the top kids at home.
Yeah.
And you were very adamant about it. And it's what I felt too at Loyola Chicago. So my energy level, starting with the borders of this state, is very high to keep the best kids home.
Porter, you mentioned you felt like the timing was right to make this transition in your coaching career. When you look around the landscape of college basketball, as you mentioned, Oklahoma's heading to the Southeastern Conference and everybody's kind of maneuvering to find the best situations. The other thing that's come into play is this whole name, image, and likeness where athletes can make money, where they weren't able to do that in the past. Is that factor in for you being at a prestigious university like Oklahoma, where you can attract kids and say, hey, I can help you if you have some financial need along the way?
Yeah, there's three major things that has changed my profession dramatically in the last 6 to 10 months. Like three major things. One, the transfer portal. Like the transfer portal is a major like thing that happened to us. All of a sudden you can leave. Like I took the job at Oklahoma after Lon Kruger retired. And in that like 3 weeks that he was retired, the whole team went in the transfer portal.
Right.
I literally inherited three players. Then the next thing is the name, image, and likeness. To answer your question is yes, it's definitely being played. Some schools, you know, they got to figure out the guardrails. It just can't be this crazy, you know, legal cheating. They got to, I think it's absolutely the right time to be able to help these young players who are generating so much interest with TV money, with all this, that they get a piece of the pie. We just got to figure out. So it's just not just a skewed recruiting advantage that some schools got to figure it out and make, you know, with the guardrails. So definitely, absolutely comes up all the time in the recruiting, and we're dealing with it. Oklahoma's brand, they had a thing about the top 10 schools with the brand. The brand of Oklahoma is one of the top 10 schools.
Yeah.
The third thing that's affected my profession is this overtime, the G Leagues, the overtime. And we're not only sitting in living rooms recruiting against other schools, now we're recruiting against that. And, you know, just this week, there's a 16-year-old kid, and how it works is they forego their senior year of high school, and they go, it's all about development. Then they played 1 year, which they would have played in college in the G League. So they get a 2-year commitment, and kids are getting offered $1.2 million for 2 years at 16 years old.
Wow.
I mean, that's just like almost across the board an average. And they're going into a lot of them. You know, Josh Green had some success doing it, and he got picked second. Now there'll be a lot more in the top 100 players. You're going to see it's upwards of 15 to 20 are going to go do it.
Wow. And so when you're going up against that, I know that's got to be difficult. We talked about the portal. I'm not a big fan of the portal. I understand why they did it with the COVID and giving the kids an extra year. I wish I would have had that when I was in school. I would have probably stayed another year myself. But, you know, we talked about how Oklahoma, you know, you lose frontline starters and how hard that was. And then to have to scramble to get that roster filled out. So tell our listeners how you've been able to basically remake that whole roster in such a short period of time.
Well, just to backtrack, the transfer portal came about when it all kind of started with people saying, well, coaches can leave without a penalty and all that. Like they can leave, they can go to our school. And let me tell you, I didn't leave for free. I had a thing called the damn buyout. I had to pay money. I had to pay a buyout. We had to pay a big ass penalty for that. And here's the crazy thing. There was 21 coaches that moved to another conference or moved to another school. There was 1,900 transfers.
Oh,
how about that number?
Wow.
And it kind of started with people where that argument was like, man, they get to sit. Coaches can leave whenever they want. So I got to Oklahoma, and we had 3 players, and it was also a time where the NCAA hadn't released the dead period. So I couldn't go into living rooms. I had to start from scratch. And we were just having to Zoom all day, every day, and watch as much tape as we can and do as much as we can trying to piece it out of the transfer portal. So being that, now I don't know if I would have lost the whole team if they had to sit a year, but since they were able to leave, we were able to get a couple guys that could play right away. So it did work in our benefit since we didn't have very many guys. But we literally, Stacey, we were just looking at, you know, guys that transferred. We looked at, I took a high school player that I was recruiting at Loyola. He was from Ben Richardson and Clay Custer's high school, a winning program. Young man named Alston Mason, who I thought was terrific. We were recruiting him at Loyola because we knew about him, that the pandemic, he didn't get the recruiting because they couldn't go out that summer, but we knew about him. So we signed him, brought him. I think he's going to be a terrific player for us in the future here at Oklahoma. But we literally had nobody. We had one player over 6'5" on a roster, and he had 1 basket in his career.
Wow.
That's the only height we had. So we had to really try to bring in some height and some size and piece this thing together. And I think we did good. I mean, we got Tanner Groves was probably one of the most highly recruited big man in the country. He's the one with that had 35 against Kansas. Now you talk about name, image, and likeness. I've been getting with him. Remember that beef jerky commercial with the guy in the flannel and the beer?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm like, bros, man, you need to get on name, image, and likeness for the beef jerky with that Sasquatch, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Killing with that beard, put a flannel on. Do it.
Hey, Coach, one thing it's your saying was, why not us? And I know you have Clayton Custer on your coaching staff, and you were able to keep players at Loyola for a couple of years, and didn't that help you in the tournament and stuff? Now, do you feel like guys are going to come in and want to go play in the NBA, and you have to change your coaching style a little bit now? Or, you talked about recruiting, but getting players to stay like you had at Loyola.
I do. I've been doing corporate speaking, different stuff on leadership and everything. And I think the thing about the leadership is sometimes people are so focused on bringing new people in that they forget about pouring into the people that are in your organization or on your team. And we were very proud that we had nobody in our top 10 ever leave at Loyola. I mean, we might've had a guy that's 11, 12, or 13 that we said, hey, you're not playing, or he's not playing, they want to go find playing time. But we never had all our players. Right now you're seeing people's third leading scorer leave, or because he wants to be the leading scorer. Yeah. And
wow.
that is something that for here, we want to build the same way. Just guys that are from winning programs that want to win, that the skill level we recruit to our offense. We're going to get them to guard, but we're going to recruit skill to that offense. But I think that's the thing is you got to recruit your own team. I mean, people are saying that. My peers are saying that you got to recruit your own team so they don't leave. My thing, it's not really recruit your own team. You just got to pour into your team. You got to pour into them and, build that culture to where they love being there. And yes, the NBA at this level, we're going to recruit some players that will go early. And man, if they can do that, God, I'm going to give them a big hug. Well, I mean, if a young man can go and he's with all the evaluation tools they give these kids, man, if they get the right people advising them, they're going to know when to go. And still kids are making mistakes doing it, but gosh, the tools they give them. But I'm not worried about if we recruit a kid and he leaves the NBA. Hell, that's a great thing for Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's great for the program.
Yeah, they've got a great player. You worry about kids having some adversity and hearing those demons on their shoulders saying, hey man, it's better over there. And the thing that young people, and Stacey alluded to this, he had a great message to our own players when he spoke at our golf outing a couple of weeks ago. It doesn't mean that it's automatically change is going to be better. You're going to have to fight through some stuff. And that's what we worry about the transfer portal as adults, that people are just going to just leave because it got tough. Yeah. And that's going to be a constant focus for us, is constantly creating our culture where people want to stay and wear those OU colors until they go to the league or the corporate world or wherever it may be.
Well, and we talk about, Oklahoma talent and being able to get Oklahoma talent. Talk a little bit about freshman Bijan Cortez. He's got a big name. Everybody knows him in the state of Oklahoma. He can really hoop. My brother, you also have a freshman, CJ Nolan from Texas, that my sons played basketball with at their high school. So I know a little bit about him. Both those kids are very talented. So talk a little bit about those guys, especially Bijan.
So Bijan's an Oklahoma player, and he won the state championship at Kingfisher. So right out of the gate, I just love that. I love that he comes from a winning program. He's a big point. He's 6'3". His best attribute is he really can, what we called at Loyola, starting the domino, creating a scramble defense. He's good on ball screens. Just like all freshmen, he came in 8 weeks this summer, got acclimated, and then now our fall workouts, he took another step forward. So we'll see. Really like him. He's a high energy kid. He's a winning program, and he's a local player here who's playing for his home state. CJ Nolan is as big a guard, almost too big. He came in at 232 at 6'3", but he is learning to use that and slim down, use that in a powerful way. and he just great kid. He's really working. He gets going from point A to point B, and when he learns how to get shoulder and body up, body in, and keep him on your hip, and I'm excited for those guys to see where they're going to go. And that's the thing as freshmen. This level is for freshmen is you got to stay with it, because those two kids had a lot of success in high school, and that's the thing you constantly. I've been used to this, kids coming in, and you got to bring them on and really work the development. But I love those two kids.
Hey, Coach, if you would, take us back to the 2018 Final Four run. And obviously, you were probably the second biggest name on Loyola after Sister Jean. I mean, it was amazing the following that she had, and she's still going strong, God bless her. What was the coolest thing that happened? A conversation, a text message, a chance encounter along the road to the Final Four that you'll always treasure when you look back on it?
Man, I've been asked that question so many times, and I can't sum it up in one thing, but I can kind of sum it up in how it was. Everyone always asked me about the focus. Like, how did you guys stay focused? Because the hoopla was crazy. I mean, Chicago was crazy. And I remember in 2016, coming back from a recruiting trip, coming back up Lakeshore Drive when the Cubs, and it said, "Go Cubs" in the skyline.
Sure.
Like, that's the coolest damn thing I've ever seen. And when we beat Kansas State, my phone's blowing up and it said, "Go Loyola." And the whole city had that. Navy Pier, the Hancock building was maroon and gold. I mean, it was crazy. And we set out to say, you guys, we are going to have the time of our lives. When it's time to enjoy it, we are enjoying it. Each other, whether it's a pregame meal, whether it's a parade. But when it's time to walk through in a ballroom, when it's time a film session, when it's a practice, we all were like saying it's going to be a laser-like focus. So it was just so fun to come back from, like, we went to a meal after we beat I think it was Nevada, to go to the Elite Eight. And we're back in the hotel. The hotel was crazy. We finally made it back to where we're getting a meal, and our guys are on the phone like little kids. And then Dante Ingram's like, "Drake's hitting me. Drake's hitting me." And they were like little kids. They were like little kids, and on how all that was going down. But I mean, it was surreal, like, for these guys. But I remember walking to a press conference at the Missouri Valley Championship. We beat Illinois State, and we're walking to the press conference after cutting down the nets, and Ben Richardson and Clay Custer, I was walking behind them, and it was like two kids, like they grew up together. Since they were little kids, and like he put his arm around him, it was like he was getting him a noogie. He's like, "Man, we're going to the NCAA tournament." And they were really like, they were like little kids, because it was just, they believed in this journey that we were going to do at Loyola, and they believed it. And then we got there, and then every step of the way, we just believed. We thought we were going to win a national championship. We really did. I mean, my therapist says I'll get over it being up 10 against Michigan in the second half. I mean, we were up 10 in the second half, but think about that. And then with the new team, except two guys, it wasn't like we had 9 guys back from that team. It was only Krutwig and Williamson. We went to the Sweet 16. And but that 2018, going to the Final Four, we had 44,000 at our practice. And 44,000 at the Dome in our practice. And the guys are like, I mean, it was just the journey. My favorite thing was that we were intentional with the people, the families, the kids, walking down on the Riverwalk with police all around us, going to a restaurant and having people have gondolas up and down the Riverwalk yelling at us. I mean, it was just, but we literally had a great vibe where we were going to enjoy the heck of it. I wasn't that guy like, "In your rooms, but I said we were going to do this." I mean, we were enjoying it, and then we were focused at the same time, which I thought was a cool combination.
It's like real life Hoosiers.
Yeah,
right?
It was. Yeah. I think you guys captivated America. You were America's favorite. Like, I think everybody was so disappointed you guys didn't, win it all. I think everybody was really pulling for you. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and Sister Jean helped with captivating America too. So all the non-basketball fans went with her. I'll never forget being on like Good Morning America, and like Sister Jean, God bless you, she's the best. She gave us a scouting report, and it was, he could shoot, he can do number 13. It wasn't like, "Hey, they're running a 45 cut. Make sure you close the body on the 45 cut." Like, it wasn't any of that. And like, I remember on Good Morning America, it wasn't like we were doing like I did. The Jim Rome show. I mean, he knows, I'm on the Good Morning America, and they're like, "Porter, it is really cool how much you use Sister Jean's scouting reports." And I love her. I use her divine intervention. Let me tell you, she breaks everybody's hand.
Sister Jean convinced the whole country that it was destiny. And so I think everyone was shocked because we just figured it was, she had arranged it ahead of time.
She had a direct line.
She did.
God.
It's true.
We are going to win. Yes, you are, Sister Jean. You are the burning bush.
So when you had to break the news to everybody at Loyola that you were going to go to Oklahoma, what was that conversation like? And what was that like with your players and Sister Jean? Did she like kick you in the knee and say, I mean, how was that conversation?
Well, if I had it on Zoom or FaceTime with Sister Jean, what I didn't, this is what I picture would have been like. But I will share that. I'll share this with you. The first time around in the Final Four, I confided in Sister. I literally met with her, and the only people that knew were Steve Watson, my athletic director, and my family, and then Sister Jean. And I said, Sister, I'm just really torn. I love it here. I feel like I have a purpose here. I go, can you pray for me? And she says, I'm going to pray for you. And then the next day she wrote me like a 2-page letter why I better not leave. Like why and then why it's a good thing. But I tell you, it was hard when you love a place, when you invest and put your name and for 10 years to get it to where it was. And then I had a great working relationship with our athletic director, Steve Watson. We were totally in sync. My family loved it. My kids loved it. I love the players. It was really, I can't even say it enough how much I love the players there. And that Zoom was very hard. So my first call was to Steve Watson, very, very hard. Then I Zoomed with the players immediately after that. And obviously they figured when I call an emergency meeting with all the hoopla around on a Zoom, I couldn't meet him in person. I had to Zoom. You know how brutal that is?
Yeah.
You know how brutal that is that these young men become family. And so that was very hard. And then I called Sister. I called Tom Kelly at the university. But yeah, Sister, I tell you what Sister did. And do I have it right here? Sister has, this isn't it. It is. This is the binder from Sister Jean. And she starts out by saying, hello, Porter. Little did I know that when I began to prepare this booklet of correspondence and prayers of 2021 that I shared during the year of COVID, that I'll be sending a copy as a farewell to you. She sent me a book of every prayer she had at Loyola.
Wow.
All the emails, it's all binded up. I mean, can you imagine? She's just turned 102. She did it all herself. She typed it, she bounded it, and all these handwritten notes. And she's a friend for life with me, and she means a lot to me. And I tried to get her to enter the transfer portal. And again, she gave me one of these. But she is a treasure. She is an absolute treasure.
I saw some people at the golf outing trying to audition to be Sister Jean.
Oh my God.
I saw quite a few of them. Like, I'll be our Sister Jean for the Sooners. I'm like, okay.
That's literally, Stacey, I just had people rolling in Chicago because I told her the story. It's probably not my Catholic response that I said, but I was joking with. But she said she's been going to games since like 69. She had Sooner earrings, a Sooner bow. She says, I've been going to the games. I'm 90 years old. And I've been going to the games. I want to be your Sister Jean. I said, really? See me in 10 years.
Well, one
you're 90? Oh, come on. You got to be 100 to do that job.
And I talked about this when I did my little speech. I don't know if the Sooner faithful really know how hard it was for you to leave and the impact that you made here in Illinois. I joked that they made a statue of it. They were going to make a statue of it if you stayed. so they're very
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you looking out.
They're very lucky to have you. And my biggest question to you is, now, did you know how big OU football was before you got there? Because I mean, I know you probably knew it was big, but when you got there on campus, your first time on campus, and you saw everything and all the buildings and the stadium and all the stuff that comes along with OU football, did you know it was that big?
I'd like to say yes, but it's no. I'd like to say yes. I mean, I played at Creighton in Omaha, Nebraska, which was like an hour from Lincoln. And I told Barry Switzer this last game. I just saw him. I said, I ended up disliking the Huskers so much because like we're getting ready to go to the NCAA tournament in March. And the lead story is the weather report for the Huskers spring game. I'm like, dude, we're going to the NCAA tournament. So I learned to hate the Huskers and root for Oklahoma back then. But I'm telling you, it's insane. I remember going to the softball championship run, and we had a scaffolding that they made for a lot of the coaches. And Bob Stoops was out there, Lincoln Riley was out there, I was out there, Joe Castiglione was out there, the President Harris was out there. We're on the scaffolding, and they hit back-to-back home runs right in the center field, right next to our scaffolding, to two people right next door, right next to each other. They caught the balls, and they're like, "Go take a picture, Bob, you, Lincoln, and Porter, go take a picture." Man, I go out there with Bob Stoops and Lincoln Riley. Oh, I might as well bet a dude that worked at the convenience store that with Bob Stoops. I mean, Bob Stoops, those guys. I mean, he does have a statue. Lincoln will have a statue. Yeah, and they're great guys. But you know what I love? Those guys are all in. I'm going to be next door neighbors with Lincoln, and those guys are all in about helping us, helping all the sports. Patty Grasso, the softball coach, 5-time national champion. They are wired here to do things the right way and to win at a high level. But football, man, it's a different deal.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you so much. I know it's been crazy for you trying to get indoctrinated into everything at Oklahoma, and you're getting off-season workouts, getting ready for the start of practice. We appreciate you so much taking some time here on Give Me the Hot Sauce. You will always be remembered finally here in Chicago for a marvelous run at Loyola, taking the Ramblers to the Final Four and back to the tournament just this past season. So we wish you all the best. Stacey's going to be following you as close as he can, and if you need some help with her inspirational speech, my man Stacey's always available.
If you need me to come in and be a recruiting analyst to help you with some recruiting, I got 2 nephews, baby.
I know.
The tree. I'm trying to steer them towards you now. I can't
get a violation talking about him. But I'll say this. You know, I know Stacey's probably giving you a lot of hot sauce about how big he is in Oklahoma, and I can just tell you right now, when Stacey came back, he is a big deal. They love him here. He's bigger than life here. And the people, he is a legend in Norman, Oklahoma, in the state of Oklahoma. So you can believe it when he throws that hot sauce about his Sooner days. He is that big. He is that big here.
Hey, your check's in the mail, Coach. I appreciate that.
Right. The great Porter Moser, fight song on the way out.
Hey, we're having
a fight song, John.
We're firing a director over here, man. You're supposed to be playing Boomer Sooner, man.
That was Eddie Money.
No, we're not playing Eddie Money. We want Boomer
Eddie
Sooner.
Money.
Oh my God.
Hey, Coach, we'll fix it in editing. Thank you so much.
Eddie Money.
There we go.
Yeah, boy. Basketball right now. Mark, you can't guard me, baby. There you go. Sriracha. Give me the hot sauce.
Welcome back, episode 46 to Give Me the Hot Sauce. It was really a lot of fun catching up with Porter Moser. Great run at Loyola. Now he's getting ready to do some great things at Oklahoma. And Stacey, I was just blown away when he was talking about football. You know, he acted like he was a guy just working on the side when next to the football coaches. Spencer Rattler had a big game last weekend.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, the Sooners made up a little bit. I'm still concerned about their defense. They scored a lot of points, but they were playing the Sisters of the Poor. And I'm a little disappointed.
They play Nebraska. That used to be every Thanksgiving coming up this weekend.
That used to be a huge rivalry. When I was in school, it was a huge rivalry. When Nebraska went to the Big Ten, you know, and they weren't playing each other anymore, that was really disappointing to Oklahoma fans. And now they're going to play for the first time in a long time. Nebraska is not Nebraska. Scott Frost is really struggling there, trying to turn that program around. And it's going to take him. I mean, people are impatient. You know, he's already on the hot seat. He's only been there a couple of years. He's on the hot seat. So, you know, the college football landscape, man, the fan bases in the universities, they don't mess around. They don't have time. They're not going to let you go out there and build your program the way you need. If you need 4 years, they're going to give you 2. You know, and that's, you look at the USC coach. You know,
Clay Helton walked the plank.
I mean, he had a winning record. I mean, he's been winning. You know, they lost to Stanford at home, but I mean, come on, like
the Pac-12 is really good this year.
Yes,
too. I mean,
all the teams in the Pac-12 were good.
USC alumni had been unhappy with Clay Helton for quite a while. They wanted him fired a couple of years ago. He got a reprieve last year. They went 6-1 in the shortened season because of the pandemic, but he was a guy that was definitely going to be on the hot seat. And now you look at some of the names. We're 2 weeks into the season and you're talking about James Franklin at Penn State, and they even threw Urban Meyer's name in there. It's like, who's leaving a job to go to another university at the start of the season? I mean, they're going to have to wait, USC, until after the season is over with an interim coach, and it's just going to be a mess there.
Well, it just shows you how cocky they are. They just think that their program their university can sell itself. They think it's so big that a coach would leave 2 games into the season, pack his family up, move across country to Southern California to coach at USC. Hey, listen, I'm sorry, USC, that's not happening. It's not happening. And you're going to have to wait to the end of the year. And then even then, you're going to have to throw a lot of money at people. You're going to have to give people guarantees because when you're looking at Clay Helton, you're seeing his record and the numbers that he put up there, and you're going, wow, you fired this guy who's successful. But what if I come here and I struggle just a little bit, because all these players are not theirs? Whoever comes in there is going to have to try to make good use of the players that they didn't recruit, and they're going to have to give them some patience because they got to get their people in. So, I mean, that's not an attractive job per se. I know, USC, Southern California, the Trojans, the brand itself is big, but is it really as good a program as, say, Oklahoma, Alabama,
Clemson,
Georgia? Yeah. I mean, it's not up there with those teams anymore.
Hey, before I hit the Rifles, would you give the 22 points then? Because that's what
to whom?
To Nebraska. That's what they're favored.
If it's my bet, I'd give them 32.
Okay, let me write that down.
Yeah, 32. Write that down. But I'm not betting anybody, so it doesn't count. But I'm the Sooners are going to beat them by 32 points.
32.
Okay,
all right, mark that down. Speaking of Pac-12 football, how about Oregon going into the horseshoe and beating Ohio State like a drum? They ran the ball right down their throats.
Listen, nobody's intimidated. These schools are not intimidated by these bigger schools anymore. Oregon has always been a powerhouse.
Yeah.
So when people look at Oregon coming into Ohio State and winning and say, oh, that's a huge upset. Have you not seen Oregon play the last 10 years? Yeah. Oregon is a very good football team and a very good football program. Oh, yeah. So them coming into Columbus and beating, it's not an upset. I know the rankings are different, but they are a very quality team out of the Pac-12. They go to a bowl game every year. Phil Knight has put so much money into the program. They're able to recruit almost the whole West Coast. They've got the West Coast on lockdown, and that's why UCLA is down. That's why USC is down. Because Oregon is able to come in there and just take almost every top recruit in California and bring them out to Oregon.
The Nike influence too.
Yes,
some sweet looking unis.
And they got different. They got like 20 different sets of uniforms. And that's what kids look for.
And King would be looking to go to Oregon because he loves those unis. He loves unis.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that, John. That's asking too much for me to go play for the Oregon basketball team. No. No.
Okay.
No.
You had the Rifles?
Yes. So, yes.
It's a good try, though.
Week 1 of the NFL season, the Bears go into Los Angeles and pretty much stink it up. People are thinking that they can build a team around a good defense, but their defense has really dropped off in the last couple of years.
Listen, America, Bears fans.
There we go. America.
It's going to be a long year.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. I mean, listen, I mean, the plays that the Rams scored on, busted coverages, letting guys get behind the secondary.
2 busted coverages, yeah.
I mean, you can't do that, especially on, when you're being featured and you're the game of the night. That's when you have to be mentally into the game. You have to be, everybody's got to know what they're doing. Not all I's, cross all T's.
They didn't finish.
And they didn't finish. But and I will say this. about them. Had he stuck to the running game.
Yeah. Well,
Montgomery was running all over the Rams front seven.
Yeah.
And had he stuck to the running game, which would have opened up play action passing, and then they would have been able to push the ball downfield.
And
they didn't do that.
Donald. So once they got behind and you start throwing like
the best defense for Montgomery. The best defense for Montgomery was the coach Nagy.
Yeah.
He's the only one that can stop him.
Yeah.
Well, Montgomery did hurt his hand in the second half. He went out for a while, came back.
He punched the Gatorade thing, asking for the ball. He went over to the Gatorade and punched it, and he hurt his hand. Montgomery, I feel your pain because I was doing the same thing in my house. Like, get him the ball.
We were at Paisanos, and I was pretty fired up, right? I was fired up watching Bear football. I thought for 3 quarters I was seeing some Bear football.
It was nice to see Justin Fields get 5 snaps. He made the most of it. Nice completion in the red zone, and then he ran in the touchdown on the option play.
He's going to get more and more playing time as we go along. Okay, the red rifle, the red rocket, the red, I don't know what you want to call them.
Red wagon.
Yeah, the red wagon. Yeah, our old red wagon. Okay, with rusty wheels.
Red barber.
I mean, listen, he missed so many wide open receivers the other night against the Rams. Komet, the tight end, one time when it was it was 3rd and long, and he ran right across on a drag play right across the middle of the field and was wide open. And the red rocket.
We might have to ask our guest that's coming up here to break that down.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah, we definitely do
But
that.
and you saw the passing chart. He didn't throw anything 10 yards downfield.
Well, he didn't
you're not challenging the defense.
He didn't have protection, though. You need max protection.
You know what? Shotgun formation. Back up another extra 5 yards to give yourself a chance. Okay, your customary shotgun position, you're fine. But for the Bears, you got to back up like another 5 to 8 yards. You got a long snapper like you're punting. Yeah, you should be in the same position the punter is, and then call hike and then play. And he's got all day in because all the people got to run. They got to run 20 yards to get him.
Speaking of shotgun.
If you didn't see the Monday Night Football game, you really missed something. It was really super entertaining. I mean, the Raiders almost gave it away in overtime with that stupid penalty on the goal line, but they ended up winning it anyway. But I found myself, I was trying to figure out, am I going to watch this Manning broadcast? So I'm like, it's going to be too gimmicky. And I started watching it, and I never left because those guys were entertaining, insightful. I mean, they're giving the long play calls. I mean, you learn so much about the quarterback position and how offenses are run. It was fantastic.
I'm going to tell you something. It was very entertaining. It was funny as hell. Peyton Manning, first of all, is a comedian. Okay. If you follow him and you listen to him commercials, he is super funny. Okay. Eli surprised me. And people said this about Eli. You know, when you saw Eli with the Giants, he's all straight laced, it doesn't like he has a personality. We're doomed. We'll never make it. He had that kind of personality. But when he's around his brother, he's a totally different Eli. And some of the things that they were doing when he was calling out, when he acted like John Gruden and he was calling out the cadence and Eli was the quarterback coming to the line and he's yelling and Peyton is yelling out all these numbers. And then so Eli's just like the quarterback. He's kind of confused for a second. Like, hey, hey, slow down. I'm trying to get all the, it was so funny because it puts you in the mindset of a quarterback, like with John Gruden, who is super smart, who's very good at the X's and O's of the game. Remember you said that little show, The Quarterback Room, where he break the quarterback down? It was one of the best things on TV. And Peyton Manning, honestly, if ESPN was smart and Peyton would do it, they need to put him on ESPN on the Monday Night Football. He didn't want to do it though. Man, they need to pay him whatever. How much is it going to take you to come? Because he, in my opinion, would be better than Tony Romo. And Tony Romo is fantastic. Peyton Manning's knowledge of the game and just some of the things when you listen to him talk, like he's like, oh my God, I didn't even notice that. Like he is so good at that.
Yeah. And when they had Russell Wilson on late in the game, Russell Wilson was great. And when that ball went through the Raiders' hands and bounced off a helmet and intercepted the end zone, all 3 of those guys just looked like they were shot. All quarterbacks, at the highest level going, how can you?
Yes.
We've got, first of all, the Raiders thought they won the game. They were congratulating each other, shaking hands on the field, and have a replay review. They got to go back out there. They put the ball on the half-yard line, and they don't score. That was unbelievable.
I started to think at one point these teams aren't as good as the game was, I know, entertaining. I was listening to the radio, but at some point you're like, are these teams any good? We'll see. Yeah. I'm just saying.
I mean, the games I watched, like I came away impressed, with the 49ers. The 49ers look like a really, really good football team.
And Detroit came back in that game.
Detroit came back in that game. And Detroit, I mean, if you're a Bears fan, that may not be a game that you can look on the schedule and go, we're going to win, because they put up like 33 points. Yeah, and Jared Goff looked pretty good at the quarterback position, so they were slinging it all over the place. Tom Brady, what are you going to say, man? Tom Brady is – Tampa looks like the cream of the crop in the NFC, and if they can stay healthy. Gronk, I was telling John, Gronk looks a lot better this year than he did last year. He looks a lot more healthier. And we were talking about how they were like rating the top tight ends, and, Gronk's name didn't come up, which is really it's really asinine that his name wouldn't even be up there. They asked Travis Kelce, they were talking about Travis Kelce and how good he is. And they were saying, who are the best tight ends? And he was calling the kid George Kittle, which is everybody compares those two together anyway. Yeah. But in my opinion, because those two are one dimensional. They're straight, H-back receiver type tight ends. Gronk is a complete football player. Yep. Complete football player. He plays all aspects: run blocking, pass blocking, releasing. And then he's played with Tom Brady for so long. They are connected mentally. And he was in the touchdown they threw inside the 10-yard line. He was supposed to stay in and block. And then him and Brady had this connection for him to release, because Brady recognized that the linebacker was not in the spot where he's supposed to be. So if Gronk released, he'd be wide open. He called it at the line, and it was an automatic touchdown.
Yeah.
Stinger was involved in a little bit of baseball history last weekend.
Yes.
A combined no-hitter for the Milwaukee Brewers, Corbin Burns and Josh Hader.
Yeah.
What do you got? Oh, you got the scorecards here from that. If you're watching on YouTube, take a look. Take a closer look.
This is important.
Yeah, this is my scorecard from the game, and I actually had everybody sign it. And I'm directing. This is my third
in
no-hitter.
the bin.
That's in the bin.
But here is
That's awesome.
this is cool. This is
There's oil.
I'm going to show you Bill Schroeder's. If I can get my cursor right, Bill Schroeder, who caught the last Rock Schroeder, who caught the last no-hitter.
Juan Nieves.
For 1987.
I was working in Milwaukee then.
Well, okay, so you know.
I'm getting a headache trying to figure out where we're going.
So this is
so
Bill.
many things in the bubble.
So Stacey, take a look at this. This is Bill Schroeder's scorebook, and you can see on the right side, Reyes was the only batter that came up with runners in scoring position, and he struck out. And so Bill is kind of cool. He caught the last no-hitter, and he called this game, and I directed it, and it was kind of thrilling.
Were you feeling any pressure?
No, I wasn't feeling any pressure. Once again, it was in Cleveland. So
was it a rain delay?
It was no rain delay. I only had the 2 cameras, but the director in Cleveland was outstanding, and we worked together. I ISO'd Corbin Burns and Craig Counsell while he did his thing, and he let us have a handheld on the field. We interviewed 3 players on the field: the catcher Navajas, Hader, and Corbin Burns.
Corbin Burnson, he was there.
Yeah, Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
But it was
The star of Major League.
I could tell like right away after the first 3 innings. Look at he had 7 Ks and 9 batters.
And the Indians have been no-hit 3 times this year. Every time with Zach Plesac as the starting pitcher.
Wow.
His Uncle Dan is probably thinking he's really sneaky.
Yeah, how about that? 3 times, man.
3
He's
times.
really
Yeah, it was really cool, and I was working trying to fit all the college football and everything else into 3.5 minutes. And so you get a no-hitter late, and my first going, I got no place for it. I'm like, this is a no-hitter. He goes, no, it was 2 pitchers. That doesn't count. And I'm like, come on.
Wow. How old was you, like 25?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got to tell you, just one thing. That was cool because Corbin Burns obviously wants to no-hitter. And how many times we've seen guys go out and overextend. Edwin Jackson threw 148 pitches and got his no-hitter in Arizona, and he was never the same pitcher. So for Craig Counsell convinced Corbin the best chance of getting no-hitter is bringing Josh Hader in, who's unhittable. They both share in no-hitter. Corbin Burns doesn't extend his arm. Brewers win. It was another example of a great coach.
It's a great gamble. It's a great gamble because if it doesn't work out and they end up losing, and then so Counsell now has an angry pitcher on his hands.
It was only a 3-0 game too, right?
Yeah, he wanted to come out. Yeah, he said he was fighting to get through the 8th.
Right, but just the way Counsell's been able to get buy-in from the players, it's really interesting to watch. A coach has command of the clubhouse when you see stuff like that on a daily basis.
City of Champions, Milwaukee.
City of Champions, yes.
Got the Rifles. Hey, we got a special friend of the program that we want to bring in. This young man has really impressed us. His name is Scott Nance. Goes to school at Fremd High School in Palatine. We record the show. The Hustle and Flow studios are in Palatine, so he's not too far from us.
He's got a bad wheel.
Yeah,
he's got a bad wheel. He's a football player.
Handicap. He parked over the handicap. He was able to use the handicap sticker.
But he's taken on a great hobby for himself, breaking down football videos and really explaining it in a way that people can understand. And this could be a future career. Scott, welcome to Give Me the Hot Sauce. I know it's hard for you as a young guy to try to explain exactly in a nutshell what you're doing, but give the folks an idea of why you got involved with this passion and how they can find the work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for getting me on the show. And just during COVID, I didn't really have anything going on. So I just decided to get in with this passion and study the game more. And on my TikTok account, I'm just going over film on players, ranking them, and just trying to engage with an audience and see what people think of my opinions. And in the future, I want to try to work with the NFL or with college football in general and try to be an analyst or a scout or a general manager or something of that sort. And just really, I have a passion for this and I just want to keep working hard.
Was King right with his assessment on Rob Gronkowski?
I actually disagreed a lot with that.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I want to hear it. Come on, Scott.
So when you mentioned that both George Kittle and Travis Kelce were one-dimensional tight ends, just receivers, I disagree with that a lot.
Okay.
George Kittle is probably the best blocking tight end in the NFL at this point, apart from maybe just specialized blockers, but he is way more athletic, way more versatile than Gronk at this point. He's like Gronk. He's like what Gronk was a couple years ago. Gronk right now, he's still amazing. He's still this top 7 tight end, top 8 tight end with a very versatile skill set, both as a receiver with a great connection with Brady. He is still an amazing blocker, but his athleticism has just fallen off a little bit more, while Kittle is this freak athlete at the moment. And just the only problem he has is staying healthy right now. And when he's healthy, he's probably the best tight end in the NFL, apart from maybe Travis Kelce. But even Travis Kelce, he's not quite the blocker. He's still a good blocker, but not quite the blocker that George Kittle is.
See, and that's where we disagree. Because once again, you're young whippersnapper, and you're in that "what have we done for you lately" type thing. Okay, so Kittle is brittle. Okay, I'm just being honest. I mean, Kittle is brittle. I mean, he's always hurt. Something's always wrong with him. Gronk plays hurt. Gronk shows up and play. He's out there with like your leg broken. He's out there hopping around with a broken leg. His elbow was dislocated.
Remember the Super Bowl?
Yes. I mean, so when I, as an ex-athlete, and when I see a player that comes out and plays at a high level, no matter if he's injured or sick or whatever, I'm not taking anything from Kittle. Kittle is a very good tight end. What's the tight end from Oakland?
Waller.
Now that guy, they need to get that kid some love.
What do you have, like 20 targets on?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm about to pick him up my fantasy baby. He's on my fantasy baby.
Who's the best quarterback in the NFL right now?
Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback. It's not really a debate right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like Aaron Rodgers might have had the best year last year, but like you said, it's the full bit of work, and we just saw what he did last week. It wasn't good at all.
Yeah.
Probably the worst performance of any quarterback, and he's supposed to be the best of any quarterback. And just Patrick Mahomes, just his arm, his knowledge of what he's doing, he's only improving. The only problem he has is he sometimes drops too far back and gets sacked, like we saw in the Super Bowl. But yes, Tom Brady is this super smart guy, and he is this top 5 quarterback. Maybe he's going to be even higher this year, but especially in the second year of the system, it's going to be very good for them. And Brady is this accurate, smart, very good quarterback. But Mahomes just outclasses him in almost every single category.
Except for rings. Yeah.
Except for rings. But when you're talking, about a current ranking,
I'm not talking current.
Okay, Scott. So give me your assessment. I know you were showing me the video of I'm big on these young quarterbacks. So you were showing me Joe Burrow and what you saw with him. What's your interpretation of all these young quarterbacks coming in? Have you done any of them? Have you really looked at any of them? Who do you think of this young quarterback crop has the potential to be a game changer, franchise quarterback of the new quarterbacks we've got in this league, including Burrow? Because I would honestly say that this is really his first year since he got hurt with the ACL. I throw Baker Mayfield out there because he's still a young quarterback. Eliminate Patrick Mahomes. We know he's on a different level, but these new quarterbacks, these the kids that are coming in now,
like Zach Wilson,
and then Justin Fields,
Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones.
Yep.
Of the rookie quarterbacks this class, one of the guys I thought that was like the media gave him a lot of attention, but where I'm at TikTok, a lot of them were giving Zach Wilson a lot of hate because he just plays at BYU and nobody really watches those games like they were with Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. But I thought Zach Wilson was an incredible player, and I thought he was well worth that number 2 overall pick and was honestly very close to Trevor Lawrence and talent-wise. And we're seeing that so far. I think he might have had the best preseason apart from maybe Mac Jones, Justin Fields. They all had good preseasons of the rookies. Like, really, none of them looked bad. They all flashed. Like, Trey Lance was a little inconsistent, but those passes, like that first throw that he had, that first touchdown
80-yard
on play action, that was just incredible. But Zach Wilson is just an incredible player, and he sees the field pretty well for a rookie, and his movement in the pocket. I think that as long as the Jets don't be the Jets, and
Jets, they will be the Jets.
Yeah, they are going to be the Jets.
They'll find out this weekend because Mac Jones, the New England Patriots, host the New York Jets, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a very tough match. Bill Belichick is obviously the best coach of all time. He is a genius. And
stay here anytime you want.
Oh God, this guy's a New England fan. So anytime you say anything about New England, he's gonna give you some love.
Scott Nance, everybody.
Scott, tell the folks where they can find your work.
They can find me on TikTok at Scott Nance NFL, or Scott Nance Sports. Sorry, I used to be Scott Nance NFL. Now it's Scott Nance Sports.
You guys check this kid out. He is
very bright.
He is
great things.
It's almost like when I was sitting here watching it, it's like talking to an actual scout, a pro guy. He knew exactly.
He's got a bright future.
He can read things, and he plays football. What year are you in school right now?
I'm a junior.
He's a junior. He's a wide receiver at Frem. He's hurt right now. He's on IR, and I've been trying to get him to go into his coach's office and volunteer his services at the high school level. So
he's got a bright future. Though the coach might be,
Yeah, well, he might. They might fire the coach. They might fire the coach. And hi, Scott.
Yeah. King had a lot of words of wisdom for the young Scott Nance. That was impressive.
Yes, I was very impressed.
I was taking notes, going, "Wow, I'm going to tell my kids this stuff."
That is some great work, Scott.
That's some awesome work, dude.
Thanks for stopping by. Join us on Gimme the Hot Sauce.
Oh,
your rifle. I almost
he ran out of bullets. He ran out of bullets, America.
You know what that means? It's time to wrap up the show.
I didn't know if we had time for my man coat.
Yeah.
We'll make time for that.
We got to hear this one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we talked about the etiquette in the club, and so there's an old timer, and I've known him for a long time, and he's into sports, and I kind of try to say hello to him. He's always on one end of the locker room, and I'm on the other end of the locker room, if you know what I mean. And this guy, like, I come out of the shower and he's
full of Woody Hayes.
He's getting full down.
Son, can you loof on my back?
Yeah, loof on my back.
So I walk by him and I go to the other end of the locker room, and I'm getting my stuff on. I'm,
Are you naked?
I'm trying to get my clothes on.
So obviously you're naked walking across, right?
No, I got a towel.
Okay.
And I get to my.
He's trying to get dressed.
I'm trying to get
onesie stuff.
I'm trying to get the one. I'm trying to get dressed. I'm turned into my locker.
I'm trying to get my onesie on.
And I'm lowered down. I'm putting my socks on, and all of a sudden, Rick decides to walk.
You just called him out.
Say his name?
You can't call his name out.
No, he didn't give him his last name. There's a million people named Rick.
They know who it is.
He comes from across the locker room.
Naked.
There he is, full on
nude frontal.
I
dragging on the ground.
And it's like, "Hey, John, you think the Brewers are going to really have a chance in the playoffs this year?"
And hey,
well, if they had that bat, they would.
And John was bending over. He was bending over when Rick went up to whatever his name is. I don't know his name. He was bending over, and he was standing behind him.
I turn around, and there he is.
Oh my God!
And, the guy's old. He's skinny, and he's like, "Hey, look at this."
No, we don't. You don't need to color
he's
picture
like,
for us.
he said. Then John told me, he said, "Hey." They said, "Man, you're a little bit too close. Are you really happy to see me?" Because it's like, what are you doing here, buddy?
Yeah.
That's a man code violation.
Big time.
Yeah, that's I need to hit the button for that one.
Oh man, that was wow. I can only imagine. I don't want to imagine. Yeah, no. Because after hearing the Woody Hayes from Plank, I'm going to make a personal.
I started sweating.
I did too. Violation. Yeah, we got to get Doug Plank on here because we need him to verify this story of him bathing a wrinkled Woody Hayes in the shower because he was he in school when that happened, or was he like a coach?
No, the story goes that Woody would come into the shower and he would ask for players to
not your story to tell.
Yeah, you know what? Seriously, listen, that'd be like if you're in the shower, and like Coach Tubbs came in and said, "Hey guys, you guys, somebody want to wash my back?" I'd be like, man, get the hell out of here. No, not watching your little back. Get out of here. That's what he should have told Woody. Man, take your cocoon-looking butt on out of here. Ain't nobody watching your back.
Hey, Doug was just trying to get in the field, man.
Man, you don't get in the field like that. You're rubbing his back with a loofah. You're rubbing his cheeks. I bend over, Woody. Woody, bend.
He's just trying to relax after punching that guy on the sideline.
Oh, hey, listen, man. Doug, if you listen to this show, man, get on here, man. I need you to defend yourself. I need to talk about this bathing Woody Hayes in the shower. Yeah. What year was that? What year did he graduate?
Well, that was 7
a long time ago.
Yeah. So Woody was still young, kind of a young old man.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Woody was still young. He was pretty.
No. He wasn't young then.
He might have been strapping.
All this because of episode 46.
46. All because of episode 46.
In honor of Doug Plank.
Yeah. Doug Plank. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You should have never watched Woody Hayes back.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of editing.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of editing.
Because no, you are not editing nothing. You better not edit Doug Plank that because I'm telling Doug Plank that you said that he watched Woody. You watched the Woodman. The Woodman, baby. Woody. They didn't call him Woody for nothing, baby. Oh, Doug Plank.
If you were eating lunch or dinner while you were enjoying episode 46, we sincerely apologize.
Or you're drinking at happy hour, baby, because I am.
That is episode 46 that gave me the hot sauce. I want to thank Porter Moser, great guest today. Scott Nance, bright future ahead of him. Yeah. And
Doug Plank and Woody Hayes. Thank you. Episode 46 dedicated to my man Doug and those soft hands.
Stacey, let's get out of here.
Hold on, I'm watching Woody's back right now.
Yeah, Woody Plank.
Woody, I love you, Woody. Hey, America, drive home safely. Beep, wait a minute. And don't forget, GiveMeTheHotSauce.com. Grab your bottle of hot sauce, and she'll like it too. There it is.
There you go.
John. St. Pat's 30, baby. My favorite. My Lord. Oh, Woody.
Wax on.